Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about what I consider to be the worst products of 2018. I always get excited about these videos, not like the negative ones, like, oh, I don't like all these products, but the best and worst of 2018 or every year. I love them. And I thought that I would start out this year with the ones that I felt were the worst products, because usually I start out with the best. So we're flipping it around this time. Now I do have some of these still in my collection, but I don't have all of them. So for the sake of like everything being seamless, I'm just going to insert the picture. So let's go ahead and start off. I'm not putting these in any particular order. It's just however it is written in my phone. So let's go ahead and start with the first one being the Becca Hydra Powder. So you guys have heard me go in on this powder several times, and I think it's one of the worst powders out there in general, because it's a gimmick. It is a 6-month shelf life product that not only myself but others as well. I've gotten so many comments. After about 2 months, that thing is dry. I used it and then I put it, sealed it, put it back in its box, and whenever I came back to like look at it again, it was dry. Like, what the heck? It is one of the biggest gimmicks to me, and it's just a complete waste of your money, because if it's going dry that quickly and you love it, you're going to have to keep repurchasing it over and over and over again if you want it to have that wet cooling effect. I mean, the cooling effect while it lasted was pretty cool, but I didn't like the powder to begin with. I felt like it made my skin look dry and weird, and I just wasn't a fan even before it dried out. Natasha Denona Mini Sunset Palette. This was so easily duped for me. I will see if I can insert a picture as well. I duped it with the Sydney Grace eyeshadows. Go check out my Instagram if you want the names of the shadows and whatnot. But like, the quality of this was stupid. Like, I think this was her first mini, and I was pretty excited about it because it was $25, and I was like, yes, Natasha Denona and a mini palette. And I think this is when she also released the Tropic. While I was kind of 50-50 on the Tropic, I absolutely was not a fan of the mini Sunset. I thought it was a complete waste of money. Definitely that was the start of when things started to kind of go south. She kind of goes up and down with the product quality, and that particular palette was the first one that I ever just hated, and I definitely returned that one. The Marc Jacobs Shameless Foundation. I remember getting this and first putting it on my skin and being like, oh, it's so pretty. Like, I liked it so much, but woo, it went south so quickly. And it did every single time I tried to use it. Like, just slid off of my face. It did not work for me at all. And I feel like a lot of people, I heard the same thing. It's just like, I don't know what's going on with this. I do not understand, because it looks so good when you first apply it, but I'm telling you, I feel like it lasts an hour. Maybe. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've used it, but in my mind, it lasts an hour and then it looks ugly. The next one, I'm laughing because I remember a comment I got on this video. The next one is the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. This was the worst concealer I've ever tried in my entire life. Not even just 2018, but in my entire life. It oxidized. It made my under eyes look like I had aged overnight. Just boom. Oh my God, it was terrible. I got a comment. Someone said, well, not everybody has crepey under eyes and is old like you. And I'm like, oh my God. Obviously, comment was deleted, but I was like, girl, this is not what my under eye usually looks like. It is a terrible concealer. She's like, I love this concealer. Like, I'm glad you do, but I swear my under eyes don't usually look this bad. My under eyes have never looked that bad. It was a terrible concealer. The Beauty Bakery Foundation. I'm sorry, you guys. I know I caught a lot of slack for this one. It was one of those things where, oh, you should have used the beauty oil and blah, blah, blah. Like, I tried this even with my La Mer oil. I used a different oil. I used different primers. This just did not work for my skin by any means. I don't believe that you should have to use another product to make something work. I really, really don't. If they do, then they need to just come together. I do think that sometimes, primers will make something look better, but it should be able to work on its own as well. So that for me was just a major fail. Kat Von D's 10th anniversary collection. I was actually excited about this, you guys. The artwork, everything looked so pretty online, and it was a different format for her. The colors were pretty. And then I get it in my hands. The artwork, let me start with that. It was so pixelated, and I know that it's up to interpretation or this or that. It's just not at all what I had expected. And to me, the whole packaging looked like dollar store packaging, and that's definitely not the price I paid for it. So artwork aside, the shadows, they definitely had gone downhill. I feel like her products just keep going downhill, and definitely not worth the price. And then the highlighter I thought was going to be more like her highlighting palette that had a little bit of a base behind it. So it had glitter. I knew it was going to have glitter. So that wasn't a shock to me, but it was a shock that it was just glitter. So there was like no pigment behind it to make it look smooth and then glittery. It was just straight up glitter, and it did not adhere to my skin. It was such a pain in the butt. The only thing I liked and I did keep from that collection was the red lipstick that came in the little gold bullet with the spikes. That worked for me just fine, but the other pieces just were a big old no. I remember returning that, and it hadn't even come out in the stores yet. I had ordered it online, and it wasn't at Sephora yet, and all the girls were like, oh, I gotta open it, I gotta open it. And then they're like, wait, what? I was like, I know, girl, that's why I'm taking it back. This was one of the most disappointing things for me. I'm still heartbroken about this, but not as much because I have Wayne Goss and the new set from Sonia G. But when MAC went synthetic. Now, it's not the fact that they went synthetic. You can go synthetic, that's fine, but the quality of the synthetic brushes were terrible. Are terrible. I don't use them at all. And then they kept the same price. Like, I have synthetic brushes. Like, I love my, what are they, Delium tools. Those are synthetic and they are beautiful, but these are not good brushes, and they kept the same price tag. So that was a huge miss, and it was just losing the 217 in 2018 broke my heart. It really broke my heart. Why did you do that to me, MAC? I'm not ever going to forgive you. Something else from MAC was the Aaliyah collection. So I don't think I'm alone in my thoughts on this one either. I felt like the bronzer, for it being an Aaliyah collection, was like, it was like a face powder for me during the summer. It didn't even show up. How was it going to show up on her? The colors in the palette, there's a whole back and forth with this, talking about, the makeup artist was involved, the brother was involved, all this, but I just didn't like it. I really didn't feel like any of it said, oh, Aaliyah to me, other than maybe a piece here or there, like a lipstick or something. But overall, I was so hyped about that collection, and then it was just a huge bummer whenever it came out. I would have changed the packaging, I would have changed the colors in the eyeshadow palette, I would have changed some of the shades in the lipsticks. There's just a lot I would have done with that. So I think that they rushed it, and they should have taken just a little bit more time and really, really dug into it. And the worst palette of the year, of the entire year, goes to, I know what you're thinking I'm going to say, but I'm not going to say it. It goes to Model Co. and Karl Lagerfeld. Holy, I hope I have the swatches of this still. Like, these are built up swatches. If I have the picture of this, these are built up. I can't explain to you how terrible this palette was. I just wanted it because it was a kitty. You see this right here, this little kitten ring? Puffin got that for me. Mine, again, nickname is Kitten. And I really, really wanted to have this palette, mainly just because it was a kitten. I wanted to set it aside, but then I also wanted to be able to use it. And no, the chalkiest, patchiest, like worst makeup eyeshadow I have ever tried. And I tried it a couple times before I got just so angry. I remember being a little angry whenever I was swatching them, but then it just got worse. This is the worst palette of the entire year. The Drunk Elephant Vitamin C Eye Cream. I don't remember the name. It's inserted. Oh my God, did this cause me a reaction that took forever for it to truly go away. So this might not be a fail for everybody, but for me, I had such a bad reaction to this eye cream that I would never suggest anybody take a chance on it. I would be like, stay away. Like, do not, like, if you buy it, make sure you do a test spot first, because I don't know what it is, but I went to my dermatologist, everything. They said that I had an autoimmune reaction to that concealer, to that eye cream. And she was like, do not use anything on your eyes for this amount of time. You can use hyaluronic acid. And then I started using the Belief eye cream and BEJ revisions, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, that particular eye cream was the worst eye cream I've ever used. I'm telling you, I was so scaly, I had so many bumps and everything. And I thought that originally I was like, well, sometimes this happens and it goes away, but no, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It was so terrible. The next one is probably what you guys were thinking I was gonna say for the worst palette of the year, and it's the Natasha Denona Safari palette. Another one I got a whole lot of slack for, but $129. You had better stick to my lids. That green jumped off of my eyes. The blue kept getting patchy. I will say the warm shades in that palette definitely work better than the cool tones, but $129, I'm not going to skip the cool tones and only use the warm tones. I just think it was a little bit harder to work with, and I don't like that palette at all. I don't like it. If I had been given it from PR, I would have thrown it in the trash. I know, it's harsh. It's a harsh reality, but I hate that palette. And it's so funny because Kelsey and I go back and forth on it. She was like, your disdain for that palette is hilarious. I'm like, I know. Like, I want to throw yours away. But no, I did not think that it was worth the trouble, and I tried it several times after that. It just, no. Don't do that to me, Natasha. Don't. But she made up for it with the gold palette, because that one's beautiful. I don't know how I nearly missed this one from the list. But this is the Faux Filter Foundation from Qatar Beauty. Probably one of the worst foundations that I have ever used in my entire life. This thing, I will give it to it. It definitely has some coverage to it. I mean, it has all the coverage to it, but it is so thick and cakey, and it definitely has a very strong scent to it, but I can't say anything because, yeah, I definitely still like my powder. But this foundation, it was breaking people out after prolonged use. I just remember this foundation and hating it, like just absolutely hating it. And I tried it a few times, and no matter what I did, it just looked like cake on my skin. It should have been like the faux cake foundation. I don't know. I'm just being goofy at this point, but yes, this definitely deserves to be on the list for one of the worst foundations I tried in the year of 2018. And lastly, but certainly not least, we're going to talk about a firm flesh thick stick. Need I say more? The name is repulsive, and you're putting it on your face. It's disgusting. I have a firm flesh thick stick on my face. Come on now. Come on. No. And it was thick, but then it didn't even have the coverage. It was greasy, it was nasty, and it looked like a sample. It was terrible. I think everybody remembers this. I don't think anybody will ever forget the firm flesh thick stick. I just don't think they will. It's forever engraved in our brains. But those are my biggest misses for the year of 2018. Let me know down below, what did you really dislike for the year? And keep in mind, these are personal thoughts. If you liked this stuff, it's completely fine. I'm not mad at you. Please don't be mad at me. Love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.